Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bayishim, Rakah Kudash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bayishim, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and I'll be reading from an article on the economiccollapseblog.com titled, "There are nationwide shortages of aluminum cans, soda, flour, canned soup, pasta, and rice." And this is just a further indicator that we're living in the last seconds of these last days before the second coming of Yahushai HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, who's returning to put an end to the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites or so-called white people, and usher in the kingdom of heaven, ruled by the true children of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and it's going to be an eternal kingdom. And one of the end times prophecies that Yahushai told the saints to look for to know that his second coming was near were famines. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. "For nation shall rise against nation," meaning race wars, "and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." And all you have to do is look at the news to see that all these different signs are happening as we speak and getting progressively worse with each passing day. And we got a little taste of these coming famines with those food shortages that happened when the coronavirus lockdown started. People bum rushed these grocery stores and other supermarkets and bought up all the toilet paper, packs of water, a lot of canned goods, meats, and other necessities. And there are many videos on the internet showing that when people couldn't get their hands on the particular goods that they wanted, they started fighting each other. I even saw a video where somebody was stabbed over the last pack of water. And that's when these stores still had something. They weren't completely empty, and people were already getting animalistic. What do you think is going to happen when these stores are completely ransacked and goods are no longer getting delivered to them? People are going to start breaking into their neighbors' houses and getting their hands on whatever they can, as well as putting their neighbors to death. And it's all scriptural. And on top of these minor food shortages right now, you had many meat processing plants across the country shut down. Many farmers kill off their livestock and destroy crops because they couldn't sell them to stores. You had a lot of businesses file for bankruptcy, shut down, and lay off workers. And you've got around 32 million Americans out of a job living off of government assistance, which obviously can't last forever. And how much worse do you think the situation's going to get when those people are no longer getting government assistance and they get evicted from their homes and are walking the streets? It's going to be complete pandemonium on the streets of the United States of America. And also, a couple of months ago, the United Nations Food Program said that they expect close to 300 million people globally to be on the verge of starvation due to the coronavirus. So to you sincere Akim out there, now's not the time to be playing around. You should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you possibly can, so you can have that protective hedge of Yahweh Bayishim Yahushai over you for when all these calamities of Jacob's trouble really pop off and we're at the door of it. I had no idea that things had gotten so bad, and best believe they're going to get worse. Earlier today, my wife spoke with the manager of a local grocery store because she wanted to place a large order for some canned goods. What she was told surprised her, and it certainly surprised me. The manager of this local grocery store told her that there are numerous nationwide shortages going on at this moment, and he indicated that there are lots of products that he simply cannot get right now. And I've been to the grocery store over the past couple of weeks and have seen that these stores are starting to get empty again, like when that coronavirus lockdown started. People are sensing in their spirit that something bad is coming. You're hearing more and more in the news that coronavirus cases are building up again all across the country, as well as the coming second wave. And also, there's this coin shortage going on. And how long before there's a dollar shortage? The goal for these elites is to push for a cashless society with a digital currency, which is ultimately going to be that microchip implant, which is the biblical mark of the beast. When my wife told me what he had said, I decided that I had to look into this because I hadn't heard that canned goods were in short supply. Well, it turns out that the manager that my wife spoke with was right on target, and that should deeply alarm all of us. One thing that my wife was specifically told was that there is a nationwide shortage of aluminum cans, and this is having a tremendous impact on the soda industry. In fact, things have gotten so bad that Coca-Cola has been forced to publicly address the situation. Coke Life, Mellow Yellow, Sprite Zero, Fresca, and more, these are among some of the products you may have had trouble locating on store shelves in recent weeks. And you're not alone. When asked about the situation, Coca-Cola told one Twitter follower, "We are seeing greater demand for products consumed at home and taking measures to adapt, working to mitigate the challenge during this unprecedented time. We appreciate your loyalty to our beverages. Please know that we're working hard to keep the products you love on the shelves." Apparently, the big reason why there is a shortage is because people are consuming far more beverages at home than usual, and this has created a huge demand for canned drinks. Right now, Coca-Cola and Pepsi are primarily focusing on using their limited supplies of aluminum cans to produce their core products, and this has made less popular flavors very difficult to find. Both Coca-Cola and Pepsi have reportedly been forced to focus on their most popular flavors in order to keep them in stock, making the less popular flavors harder to find for the time being. Unfortunately, we aren't just facing a shortage of aluminum cans. According to the Wall Street Journal, a so-called prestigious publication, some of the biggest food manufacturers in America are admitting that there are nationwide shortages of flour, canned good, pasta, and rice, food essentials more important than soft drinks. Grocers are having trouble staying stocked with goods from flour to soups as climbing coronavirus case numbers and continued lockdowns pressure production and bolster customer demand. Manufacturers including General Mills Incorporated, Campbell Soups Company, and Conagra Brands Incorporated say they are pumping out food as fast as they can, but can't replenish inventories. Popular items such as flour, canned soup, pasta, and rice remain in short supply. Of course, those are precisely some of the key items that preppers tend to stock on. I think that millions of Americans can sense what is coming, and they are gathering supplies while they still can. And if Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushua is not dealing with you, in the end it's all going to be futile. That's it with this article, you get the point. But as I said earlier, things are going to get so bad out here to where people are going to be fighting each other and putting each other to death to get their hands on whatever goods that they can get their hands on. This is 2 Esdras chapter 6 in the Apocrypha, verses 22 to 24. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses, these grocery stores, supermarkets, pharmacies, etc., etc., like your Walmarts, Target, Kroger's, Rouse's, CVS, shall suddenly be found empty. At some point, these different places are no longer going to have goods delivered to them, and whatever they have left is what's going to be left. And if you don't get your hands on it, then it's going to be too bad for you. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, because the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. People are going to be starving and desperate out here and have to think about their families or just their own selfish selves. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. This is 2 Esdras chapter 15, verse 18 through 19. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. The reason all these terrible calamities are coming on the face of the earth is because of the pride of you people for your wickedness, especially you Edomites, or so-called white people, and you Israelites, or so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, 2/3 of you who are hard-headed and refuse to return under your power. You Edomites run this planet completely contrary to the scriptures and try to show yourselves as God and disprove that the Most High or His Son exists, which is why the world is in complete disarray. And you Israelites follow after these Edomites and want to be everything else under the sun except who you are, the children of Israel. You cast the laws, statutes, and commandments behind you, just like your daddy, the devil. And you have the prophets out here, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, going out there on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this to warn you Israelites of the times to come and what you need to do to get back into the good graces of your power. But you continually scoff at us, and if you could, you'd put us to death. Well, the Most High's got something special planned for you. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, because the full storehouses shall be found empty, and for great tribulation. Again, once there's no more goods in these stores, people are going to break into their neighbors' houses, and hey, it's going to get so bad, they're going to break into their so-called family members' houses and take whatever they have and put them to death. And hey, if you think people are just going to take goods, you're sadly mistaken. People are going to take other people's wives, daughters, and even sons for booty. It's about to get vicious and nasty out here. Worse than any other time in human history, even worse than the days of Noah. This is 2 Esdras chapter 16, verse 22 to 23. And hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of people are going to die from these coming famines, along with the other calamities that Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai is bringing on this earth for the wickedness and the pride of you people. For many of them that dwell upon the earth. And as I said towards the beginning of the video, the UN Food Program said that they expect around 300 million people globally to be on the verge of starvation by the end of 2020 due to the coronavirus, shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So if you escape starving to death, you've still got one of these other calamities to look forward to, such as these coming race wars, civil wars, a state of martial law, getting sent to a FEMA concentration camp, or getting gunned down by one of these foreign troops or mercenary forces that are going to be walking the streets of America. And the cherry on top of all of that is this coming nuclear-armed World War III. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. There's going to be so much death and dead bodies in that day that you're just going to walk over them without giving them a second thought, like you don't give a second thought to that turd that you flush down the toilet. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Hey, and not only are men going to break into their neighbors' houses and spoil their goods by the force of the sword due to the lack of bread, because these stores are going to be empty, but cannibalism is going to come back in a big way. And if you can believe it, it's going to get even more gruesome than cannibalism. Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai is about to terminate you wicked people with extreme prejudice. I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 19 to 20. Through the wrath of Yahweh of hosts is the land darkened, and the people shall be as the fuel of the fire. The fuel of the fire during these race wars, civil wars, famines, pestilences, and ultimately the fuel of the fire when those nuclear missiles hit and burn them up. No man shall spare his neighbor, because the full storehouses shall be found empty, and they're going to spoil their neighbors' houses due to the lack of bread. And he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall every man eat the flesh of his own arm. Not only are people going to be eating each other in that day due to the lack of food, but even there's going to be so few people to eat that people are going to start cannibalizing themselves. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly Esau, Edom. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala. Until next time, Shalom.